Let me explain that at the heart of all things is communication. If you want to have something done your way, if you want to be heard, we all would preferably have that done via talking it out, being reasonable about things, having the other person we're talking to listen and acknowledge what we're saying. That doesn't mean they have to agree, but at least acknowledge it and show enough interest in the importance of what we're trying to convey that they consider doing something different. And I've been thinking about this a lot because of the rioting and the protests that have been going on surrounding Black Lives Mattering and the police. In general, when people feel oppressed, whatever group that is, in this scenario, Black Lives Matter, in this scenario, we are talking about a group of people who identifies as African American or Black American, and we are hearing a extremely loud outcry for, we have felt that this has been going on for a lot longer than anybody has given main media attention to. The oppression and the feelings and the hurt has been there so long without this group feeling like they have been heard or acknowledged. This is why things have erupted, because there is a moment in time where everyone reaches the enough is enough point in terms of feeling like they haven't been heard. If I've been saying the same thing for 2 years, and it has been stressing me out for 2 years, and I've said it for the 7,000th time, and for whatever reason, that 7,000th time, I hit my ceiling, as a human being, I am going to try and communicate in a different way with you. Unfortunately, it's no longer going to be my voice so much as my actions. Pause there. Let's look at a different scenario. If a man walks into a gas station and asks the clerk, "Hey, would you mind giving me all the cash in your drawer? I really need it to pay my rent." We all know the answer to that is going to be no. But watch this incredibly powerful communication tool be introduced into that same scenario. And this has nothing to do with race. This could be a person of any color, any gender, whatever. If I pull out a gun and I hold it to this unfortunate victim here that's just working, and I say, "Give me all the money in that drawer," what has happened is I have communicated very clearly what I'm looking for. I no longer have to say why. Because what's in it for the other person, which is something we always have to be thinking about when we communicate. What is in it for this other person to listen? It's something for BLM to consider. What is in it for this other person to listen to me? Because at the end of the day, you have to have the attention of this other person or this other group of people in order to enact change. Otherwise, you're just doing this. Butting heads. No one's really listening. You're talking at each other. So back to the scenario in the convenience store or the gas station. I bring that gun out. All of a sudden, everyone in there knows what I want, and I haven't had to say a lot of anything. So I think that people resort to violence and protesting and rioting and things like that when there has been an amount of time that has gone by where they feel they have not been heard and they just don't know what else to do or say, and so they act. And they'll act in such a aggressive way that the other party has no choice but to listen. This isn't the way that we would ideally want to get cooperation as a human. But when a human is at their wit's end, they will resort to these things. So the answer to how to fix everything is always a conversation, but we are here in this moment where there is an entire group of people that is tired of trying to communicate it and feels vehemently that they have not been heard, and so they're going about it a different way. And it's a very similar mindset. The pathology is the same. When someone is walking into a convenience store because they've tried to say everything they can in interviews, perhaps they've worked side jobs and the money isn't steady and they have to feed their child, and their absolute last result is robbing someone, they're not going to try to explain it because they feel they have and that it hasn't worked for them. So the tool for communication they pick is a gun. In riots, people are picking something violent to communicate what they're having to say. But if you are out there wondering what is the sense behind busting down innocent businesses, and why would anyone go into a convenience store and rob someone? Why would somebody commit fraud? Like, why would anyone go to any extreme? The answer is typically somewhere in their thought process has led them to believe that communication isn't working. So in this climate and moving forward, for all of us, the best thing that we all can do is become better listeners. Acknowledge what people have to say. That doesn't mean you have to agree. If we could all listen, we could move forward much quicker with all of the issues that arise in our society and our culture.